Hi friends, it's Donna here, and today we're going to make 5 cards using the Homespun Christmas Card Kit from Pink & Main. First, let's have a really quick look at the kit. It comes in a zippered pouch, and then you get some sequins, a sheet of glitter enamel dots, 6 card bases, I'm only going to use 5 for today's video, and a homespun Christmas paper pack which has a real Candied Christmas kind of a feel with the traditional colours of red and green, as well as more modern twists like lime and turquoise and hot pink. There are also 4 sheets each of gold and silver foil paper, as well as this gorgeous big 6x8 stamp set with matching die and a big stencil. I'm going to leave a link to the kit as well as the other supplies that I've used in the information box. Let's get on with the first card. I'm going to use the Christmas bells stamp and randomly stamp this all over my panel. Once I've finished with the stamping, I'm going to cut out some little masks using the matching die. I've got a really low tack adhesive paper for this, one which will peel off easily once I've finished with it and not rip my paper. I'm using 2 different lime greens, both from Altenew, and I'm going to work an ombre effect by blending with a firm hand at the bottom of the page with a darker ink and using a lighter ink and a lighter hand at the top of the page. Once that's all blended, we have the magic task of removing the masks to see what remains. I'm going to trim down the panel to just slightly smaller than my card base and cut the gold paper to exactly the size of the card base, which is 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. I've stamped the sentiment from the same stamp set and mounted that also onto a little bit of gold backing before putting everything together to complete the card. For the second card, I'm also going to do just a little bit of masking as well as some partial die cutting. I first stamped the image onto the same low tack paper, and this time I fussy cut it out with scissors, mainly cutting the 2 sides because that's where my images are going to meet. I've drawn a line across my panel so I know roughly where I want to stamp, and stamped the first image before masking and stamping again next to it. I then move the mask, stamp again, and that's all done. You'll notice that the first image didn't come out very clearly. Rather than starting again, I've just chosen a very fine marker and I'm just going to duck in and replace anything that's missing. There's enough of the image showing that it's very easy for me to just copy the lines. Next we come to the partial die cutting. Die cutting machine will only cut where there are 2 cutting plates. So what I need to do is put the matching die in the correct place and then place the dies so that the sandwich is over the bit that I want to cut. You'll see there that I almost got it wrong and cut the wrong part. Once I've cut the first one, I'll move the die and cut the second image out before just popping in with my scissors to finish off anything that the dies missed. I'm not going to show the colouring of this online, but I will show you my process in choosing colours, which is to choose my paper first and then pick pens and pencils that will match the paper, rather than colouring in and then scrambling around for a paper to match. Once again, I've stamped my greeting from the same stamp set, and I've also used some of those white glitter enamel dots. The third card took a bit of experimentation to get the right colour, and you can see the results of that all over my messy mat. I've stamped and cut the candy cane image and put that aside, and then I've gone in with a very pale ink and stamped the candy canes all over a panel to give me a very subtle background. I also ink blended around the edges. I coloured the image off camera, stamped my sentiment in a green to match the leaves of the image, and layered this up, finishing off with a few sequins from the sequin pack. For the fourth card, I've broken out the stencil. I've taped the stencil on the back to a piece of paper, and then I've made some little masks using washi tape and some scrap paper so that I have only one strip of the stencil showing at any time. And then I've chosen some colours to match the different colours in the kit, and I'm blending the different lines in it. I've used most of the colours twice, blending it with a light hand and a heavy hand to get two different shades. Here's the finished panel. The next step is to cut that panel very slightly smaller than my card base and to stamp my sentiment. I've used vellum and clear embossing ink, and I'm going to heat emboss this with gold. Vellum warps really easily when you heat emboss on it, but the trick is put your heat gun on really early, let it get really hot, and then heat emboss really quickly. Get in and get out. I felt like the patterned paper made a lovely background, but the red and white was just a little bit busy for what I wanted. And so I've used the red ink to blend over the top of the edges, just to tone it down a little bit so it wasn't competing with my front panel. I wrapped my vellum sentiment around the front panel and stuck that down at the back, and then mounted that panel up with some foam tape for card number 4. The final card for today again uses the stencil, but this time just one line of it, and I've done some pretty serious masking, top and bottom, and also masking out the small squares. I've used a few different shades of green with a few different darknesses to get my 5 different colours, and I'm going to add little silver sequins to be the star on top. I felt like a sentiment on the front would be a little bit busy, and so I've chosen to stamp my sentiment on the inside of the card. And that completes the 5 cards for today. I really enjoyed working with a card kit and having everything match and coordinate, and I hope you've enjoyed it too. Until next time, stay safe and be kind. If you'd like to see more on this channel, feel free to like or to subscribe, and I'll see you when I next see you. Bye for now.